Imagine this. It's 3 a.m. in Burkina Faso. The air is thick, heavy, the kind of humid night where even the ceiling fan feels useless. Suddenly, ring. The phone shatters the silence. On the other end, Washington, D.C., the message? Mark Levin wants you on his primetime show in 48 hours. Now, let's pause right here. Most African leaders would laugh and hang up. Everyone knows American media doesn't invite African presidents to have a conversation. They invite them to be humiliated. But Ibrahim Traoré, he saw something different. He saw the lion's den, and he knew that's exactly where truth has to be spoken. Because 3 weeks earlier, his speech at the African Union went viral in America of all places. His words about sovereignty, about dignity, about telling the West, we don't need your validation to know our worth, that clip exploded. 12 million shares. TikTok, Instagram, even Twitter threads with American kids saying, yo, this dude makes more sense than half our politicians. That kind of thing doesn't go unnoticed. Conservative media smelled blood. They wanted him on live TV, not for answers, not for dialogue, for ratings. But here's the twist they didn't see coming. When you try to clown a man who carries his entire nation's dignity in his chest, you don't get easy sound bites. You get history. Mark Levin was licking his chops. His producers built what they called the African File, a dossier of cherry-picked failures, half-truths, and flat-out stereotypes. They framed Traoré as another military strongman, an unpolished soldier who stumbled into power. Their strategy? Easy. Hit him with poverty stats. Throw human rights accusations. Interrupt every time he mentions colonialism. Get him frustrated. Clip it. Blast it on Fox and YouTube. Boom, viral humiliation. Levin practiced in the mirror. Glasses straight. Condescending smirk locked in. He had his gotcha lines ready. Why should Americans listen to a coup leader? Your people are starving. Why are you blaming us? You live in mud huts. We live in skyscrapers. Who are you to lecture America? It was supposed to be easy entertainment. But arrogance is a funny thing. It blinds you to reality. Because Ibrahim Traoré wasn't walking into that studio as some African general. He was walking in as a man who had faced death, war, and betrayal. What could a TV host possibly do to shake him? The lights went up. The crowd, Levin's loyal audience, was primed to laugh, ready to cheer every insult. But the second Traoré walked on stage, something shifted. No theatrics, no oversized ego, just quiet confidence, a dark suit, steady eyes, a presence that said, I've carried more weight on my shoulders than this entire room combined. The handshake was brief, firm, unimpressed. Levin launched in with fire. So, Mr. Traoré, tell us why a coup leader from one of Africa's poorest countries thinks he can lecture the greatest democracy on earth. The audience chuckled. The trap was set, but Ibrahim didn't bite. He just paused, silence thick enough to choke the room. Then, with a calm tone sharper than any blade, he said, Mr. Levin, I notice you begin with assumptions, not questions. Perhaps we should start with truth, not theater. Boom. First punch landed, and he didn't even raise his voice. The smirk slipped. Levin wasn't ready for that. For the next 70 minutes, America watched a masterclass in dignity versus desperation. Levin interrupted Traoré 18 times. 18. Each one more frantic, more unhinged. But every time, Traoré simply paused, waited, smiled, continued exactly where he left off. No raised voice, no insults, just patience. And with every calm response, the audience started realizing this wasn't a debate. This was a mirror. And it was Levin who looked weak. At one point, Levin shouted, "You're lecturing America while your people live in mud huts." Traore didn't flinch, didn't snap back. He just nodded slightly, waited for Levin to finish yelling, then said, "In my country we have a saying, the empty barrel makes the most noise." The room went silent. Even Levin's supporters shifted uncomfortably, because deep down they knew he was right. By the time Levin was sweating, red-faced, and practically screaming, Traore was still composed, seated, hands folded, calm as a mountain. He didn't just hold his ground, he owned it. Then came the breaking moment. Levin stood up, finger-pointing, spitting words. "You're nothing but another dictator blaming the world for your failures." Traore? He didn't move, didn't blink. He simply looked straight into the camera and spoke, not to Levin, but to America. "You invited me here to humiliate me. But what you have revealed tonight is not African weakness, it is American insecurity. 18 interruptions are not signs of strength. They are signs of fear. Fear that Africa's voice might actually matter. Silence. Absolute silence." That's when it happened. An elderly black woman in the audience stood. She started clapping, slowly. Then others joined. Within seconds, the entire audience, Levin's audience, was on their feet. A standing ovation. For Traore Levin, he sat frozen, destroyed on his own stage. By the next morning, the internet was on fire. Dignity over loudness trended worldwide. The clip hit 10 million views in hours. TikTok teens were remixing it. College professors were breaking it down like it was the Gettysburg Address. Levin's career? Done. Sponsors pulled out. Networks distanced themselves. Even conservatives admitted it was embarrassing. Within days, he was a meme. 18 interruptions became shorthand for insecure bullies exposed by truth. Meanwhile, Traore was everywhere. Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, sending invitations. The UN calling. African youth movements chanting his lines in protests. Anger is not an argument. Volume is not truth. For the first time in decades, Africa wasn't being talked about as a problem to be solved, but as a voice to be heard. Let's be real. Americans aren't used to seeing African leaders win on their media turf. But this wasn't just about Traore. It was about respect, about dignity, about flipping the script on centuries of being talked about instead of listened to. That night, the balance shifted. The so-called greatest democracy got a taste of what it feels like to be lectured, interrupted, and dismissed, and it didn't look good on them. Traore showed the world something simple but devastating. Calm truth beats loud arrogance every single time. The question for you, and that brings us here, because this isn't just an African story. It's a human story. It's about dignity in the face of disrespect, patience in the face of provocation, truth in the face of lies. So here's my question to you. Do you think American media was exposed that night, or do you think Traore just got lucky? Drop your thoughts in the comments.